Sometimes I feel like a star, but only strictly where I'm famous. I'm in this for the longest haul, like we'll see where it takes us. I'm throwing back these double shots like whiskey here is weightless. Cause this career I chose was even riskier than Vegas, yo.
Oh, hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Colby Rebel Live. We have an exciting lineup for you tonight. This one is very special and very dear to my own heart. And I believe you're going to be just as fascinated by our guest this evening as I was when I first had the opportunity and the privilege to meet with her and study under her. So we are going to talk about that in just a second. But right before we do, remember everybody, I am heading to Jersey tomorrow. You know what that means. Going to go home and see my family and my grandma, who I love so much, but also have a couple opportunities to serve spirit. So if you're in New Jersey or around New Jersey on Saturday night, I will be in Alloway, and that is going to be at Helen's Cafe and Gardens. And then Sunday night is our Sip with Spirit. And this is a wine tasting, hors d'oeuvres, and just a truly amazing evening of connections and messages, and just a great opportunity to bring some friends, whether they be your mom, your family, or some lady friends, or you drag your spouse along. It all is for a very fun and healing evening of spirit messages. So, make sure you get your tickets because they end the sale Saturday. So you have to jump in and get them. Don't delay or you'll miss out, okay? So let me, again, get back to our guest this evening. I just had this honor. For any of you who do this work or study in this work, there are just certain people that you come across, and I believe it to be what we call a soul connection. And there's just something that resonates deep within, something that says to you, listen clearly, pay attention. This is someone very special. And I had this experience with our guest this evening, and I just loved her. I don't know. You could look in her eyes and I could know like what we were talking about. We didn't need physical words. So I truly had the blessing and honor of being in her presence. And so I thought, what an opportunity to have her on tonight to share her wisdom and her experience and her philosophy on many things, including mediumship. And she is an SNU teacher. She has her own programs that she teaches, really about the teaching of the soul, the who am I, and many, many things. And we're going to go over all of those tonight. But please, before we do, let me please welcome our lovely guest this evening, Jose Gosschalk. Hello, Jose. Hi there, Jose. How are you? Oh, unmute, Jose. She's on mute. Does she know to do that?
Yes.
Yay! Hi, Jose. How are you?
Hi, Colby. I'm fine. I'm really honored to be in your show.
Oh, thank you. And I know it's like so late in the night, early morning. So I can't tell you how much I appreciate you staying awake and looking so stunningly beautiful for us tonight. So thank you.
That's water. Drinking a lot of water.
Are your pajama pants underneath your lovely jacket?
Not yet, but after the show, yes.
There you go. Now, I know you have been so busy. I mean, you have had so many workshops and classes and a lot of travel. But I want to go back to your introduction to mediumship. I mean, how did you discover that you were a medium or you had this connection to spirit? Can you take us through that a little bit?
Sure, yes. I went to the Art of Findlay College by invitation of a friend of mine, and I met Paul Jacobs there. Very simple.
Yeah.
And I fall in love.
Yeah. You met
And
the
I'm
boss.
still, yes, I'm still in love with him. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's my best friend. And so I was in his class, and in those days, I was lucky. He was a tutor. He wasn't a course organizer, and he had a beginners group, and I was a total beginner. And he made me do certain very simple exercises like uh, sit with a partner and just sense what did that person do in the last 4 weeks, and see if you can get pictures and feel into it. And I had a few yeses, and I was so proud of myself. So I thought, this is my teacher.
Yes.
He
Yes.
can teach me something. And I stayed with him. I felt that connection with him. And immediately at the end of the week, I said, Paul, would you like to come over to Holland? And I had no place to run courses. I didn't do anything in that time with mediumship. I was a yoga teacher and a mom, and
Wow.
yeah. And he said, yes, yes, I love to come, but it will take a year because my agenda is full. So I had to wait a year, and I went back to the college once or twice, I can't remember, and to his class. And I was touched by when he said, and I'm sure you know this, and many people who are listening will recognize this. When he explains an exercise and a student comes in and says, yeah, Paul, but I experienced this or that. And then he said, shh, stay with me, stay with
Yes.
me. And that made a big impression to me because it helped me to realize that mediumship is something you need to be able to focus.
Yes.
And he really made that very clear to me, that stay focused.
Yes.
And yeah, for me it was very simple to listen to his words and to tap into his energy and feel that uh, the way he's teaching students, he can see so precisely where you are in your development. And he will say this to you and that to another because he knows what you need.
Yes. Yes. But I find he is the boss. I mean, I call him the boss.
Yeah, he is.
He knows how much he knows how much I love him. I really do. So but when I met you a few years ago, I just loved, it's not, it goes beyond like to say I loved your energy. I mean, yes, I did. But there was just such for me, a connection with you. You just looked at me and you said it so subtly. Like, and you just looked at me and you just said, some people just have that connection to spirit, don't they, Colby? And I'm sure you don't remember it, but it's so special. I'm like, oh. But it stayed with me because it makes it so, makes you realize the importance of that connection to spirit.
I am sure many people will come to you with the same thing. You said to me, Colby, and that had such a big impression to me. And
Well,
you won't remember that you said it.
but I love that you have such a, to see you or to be around you, there is such a dedication to spirit. I mean, that is just very obvious in your work and in your connection, and this responsibility, I see you putting it on yourself, of getting it right. You have this responsibility of making sure that you're serving spirit at the highest level. Like, is this not right? How do I tweak it? Let me sort it out. You can see that it's the integrity of it is very important to you in your service.
It's true, and you know for yourself, it's not always an easy road to be walked.
It's not.
I remember that Paul asked me to join the service. Uh, During a week, I was a student, and because I'm Dutch, and there were no other Dutch students, and I didn't know anything about it, so I thought probably he's asking every week a student to come up on the platform to join the service. So I just did it.
Yeah.
And later, of course, I thought, my God, that was scary actually. And but he is very precise and very, very committed
Yeah.
to his work, the spirit, and he's teaching us that we should try to go direct or to an
Yeah.
area, and we should know when we can throw it open to the whole audience. And I remember that because I was taught like that from the beginning, I found it quite easy to go direct.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Then, of course, you come to a point where the spirit world um, wants to make sure you don't stand still and make another step forward. So you need to be able uh, to deal with difficulties. So at a certain moment, I wasn't able to go direct anymore, and that probably took me 6 months
Yeah.
in the sanctuary at Art of Findlay College, but also back home. And I really had to work to find my recipient. And then afterwards, you speak to other students and they say, well, you had a very hard evening tonight. And, then you come across that you have to deal with yourself, that you don't get negative.
No.
You realize that you are serving spirit and that it doesn't matter if you can't find your recipient immediately. You just have to deal with it, and then one day you're over it again
Yeah.
and you can do it again.
Yeah. Yeah. Mavis Patilla, which I know you know Mavis,
Yes,
in her
very
book, Droplets of God, she mentions that she had lost her clairvoyant to see spirit. She had lost that for a bit. So it's
Okay.
very similar. It came back. I do believe it came back. But yeah, you know when you're, and maybe some of that's the pressure too, right? Because I think as we start to get to a certain point, there's pressure.
There is.
So how do
Yes.
you deal with the pressure, Jose? Like in for where you are now, are you just more relaxed about it? Or are you just saying, all right, I'm going to kind of go with this? Or do you still feel pressure?
Sometimes there is pressure. It depends what the situation is, and there's always that nice uh, bubbling energy, a little bit of nerves,
Yes.
which is fine. Um, but before I came into mediumship, I had done a lot to the point of self-inquiry and meditated and all those things for years, 20 years. And I remember saying to Paul, I wish I had met you before and spiritualism before. And he said, well, you've done the foundation.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed that probably because of that,
Yeah.
I could deal very easily with stress. I try, and I'm still working on it every day, and I think we never finish with it, that we keep an eye on that we are not attached to the past.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Which
Exactly.
means also stress moments. We shouldn't be attached to it. It happens, but like this interview, it happens now, but the first 10 minutes are past already and they never come back. It's true, isn't it?
Yeah, it is true. It is true. So definitely. Now we've got you have an event coming up with Paul. So I do want to make sure I mention this because I got to tell you, I looked at this lineup. We call it a lineup. What a dream team. What a dream team this is. It is in October. It's at the Arthur Findlay College. But and Paul is organizing it. But it is you, it is Jackie Wright and Janet Nilkovic. And that's October 19th through the 26th. But wow, right? Is that not gonna, are you just not gonna have the best time ever?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It will be a great week. It will be a very, very special week as well.
Yeah. I mean, look at that. I mean, I saw that and I thought, oh my goodness, what a beautiful, beautiful tutors everyone is there. I mean, I know all of you. I haven't met Jackie personally, but I do believe she was just like nominated for the director or something like that. So I mean,
president.
How
Yes,
crazy,
president.
right? Yeah. So I mean, listen, look at the company you're in, Jose. Did you ever think?
Jackie and I, we did the tutor training scheme together.
How
So I
fun.
know Jackie very well.
Yeah,
I
like,
love her.
I mean, so when you two think about that, right? Now we're going to go back, and when you two are in your tutoring scheme together, right? That training. I mean, did you ever stop to think, oh my goodness, this is where we're going to be?
No,
Right?
but I never had that. I never thought I would become a medium or a tutor here in Holland or a tutor at the college. I never had that in my mind. I
Yeah.
just went with the flow, and in particular when Paul said, "Now do your sittings. Don't give them to somebody else.
Yeah.
Do arrange them." So I just did it.
That's
And I love
that's why I call him the boss. So when he says something, you do it. You just don't. Yes, sir. Yes, boss. Got a boss.
Yeah, well, it's a bit. I'm very much into Indian philosophy, and I went to India many, many times. I can't count. I think 20 times.
Wow.
So I spent time in ashrams and lovely places, and there are bosses there as well.
Yes.
If
Yes.
you want to reach a certain point in your development, whatever it is, yoga or mediumship, there is a spiritual teacher, and if he's correct, if he's doing his job well, then he knows where you are in your development, and he's guiding you into the right for the right steps.
Yeah.
You just do it because you trust him.
Yeah.
But of course, there are also many who are not so spiritual and do it for a different reason. And unfortunately, there are many people who can't sense if it's it's for the right reason. They guide you in a certain direction, but that's all part of everybody's personal pathway, of course.
Yeah.
But I was lucky to find Paul, and I've met other teachers as well before Paul, which were part of my development. But I don't look back.
we learn.
Yes.
So how would you explain to a student the sitting in the power? Do you believe in it? Do you encourage it? And how would you explain that to a student?
I love it myself, so I do talk about it and I suggest it to people, students. But if a student says, well, I don't like to meditate, I don't want to sit in the power, then I would suggest something different. Then I just say, well, hold your hands like this in front of your heart, and bend your head a little bit and just walk very slowly, just one step forward or one step sideways or one step backwards, and just do that for 10 minutes. And you will find that you go within yourself very, very easily, and your mind will become still. And that's the whole point of sitting in the power and meditate, that your mind becomes still. So the blending with the spirit world is a natural thing.
Yes.
Happens naturally. I don't believe in sitting in the power for hours and hours and your mind wanders off to the past, the future, or whatever. It is sitting in the power for me is sitting in your own.
Yeah.
essence.
Yeah. In your own like glory.
And if your mind becomes still, then the spirit world is very easy to hear or to sense.
Yes. Yeah.
But if I sit still to blend with my own spirit, I'm not looking for colors or objects or words or wisdom. I just want a quiet mind. And when the mind slows down and there is a thought, and before the next thought comes, that gap in between, that's the power for me. That's the silence, that's the wisdom of the heart.
I think sometimes I find that students, they kind of don't want to do the work. They just expect it to like, oh, I've got this, and now I'm just going to go out and do it.
Yes.
But I just feel that training is so important. That foundation and learning the ethics and the integrity and the honor system. And but what are your thoughts on it, Jose? How do you feel about training and that development process?
Yeah. Coming back on your previous question, if I suggest sitting in the power, I like to add that it should be a desire from within.
Yes.
And if the teacher says you've got to sit in the power so long a day, every day, or a few times a week, it doesn't work. There should be that desire. And to this next question, I mean, if you see a little baby of a few months old, which can only lay down, you're not expecting that it will sit up straight or start walking. You just respect that this is what he or she can do. That's it. And students expect often from themselves, or they demand it, or they want it, whatever word we use, but after a few courses, they want to go out and spread the message, which in one way I can understand, because they're very eager, or they feel very happy to work with the spirit world. But we also see many students go out too early, and then when they get problems when they work, they are not strong enough within their mind and within the blending with the spirit world, and they expect the spirit world to come closer, but they can't come closer. We blend with the spirit world, and then when we know the techniques and we've worked on ourselves and we went through all the difficulties, then you find that when you start working, when the blending is there, and as soon as you start working, you know what to do, then the power is coming.
Yeah.
But that takes several years.
Yeah. Yes.
So,
yeah.
But the problem is we can't stop people. We can tell people, it's better you wait. I don't want you to fall and step back completely because of the disappointments and the fear which arises to go back on the platform or do sittings. But if students are not listening, if they think they know better, there's nothing we can do, really.
Yeah. Does that hurt you, though? I mean, how have you learned to not take that personally, or does it still kind of hurt your heart?
It can hurt my mind, but it can't really hurt my heart.
Okay, good. Okay, that's great. I love that.
I can think about it and be a little bit irritated, or but that stops very, very quickly because there's nothing I can do.
Yeah, I love that.
Of course, I wonder have I been maybe too enthusiastic about where they are? Have I missed something? Could I could I do something? Could I have a talk with them? But if not, I mean, at the moment there are also students. They shouldn't go out. And I saw a few days ago that they're doing a workshop.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're students.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
not ready at all.
Yeah.
Uh, but I also do believe, Colby, and I'm sure you agree with that, that we meet people we should meet. And probably they meet people and those students are very happy with them because they are at a point in their development that they still get something from it.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Yes. So now one of the questions that someone submitted to us wanted to know, what do you do if your family, like if you're wanting to pursue mediumship, but your family disapproves of it? Do you have any thoughts on that scenario?
yeah, that's a difficult one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I run a 3-year academy for mediumship. And I ask people when we start, how is it back home? Is your partner okay with you coming here, developing your mediumship? And let's say from the 20 people, there are often 10 at least where it's very difficult to talk about their mediumship back home. And the second year, it's maybe 9 or 8. And the third year, it's less.
Okay.
And then at the end of the third year, when we finish the 3 years, we have a gathering here and they get a certificate for attending the 3 years. And we invite the partners as well. And there are many partners who have never been here before. And only then, when they are here for an evening and they get a glass of Prosecco, we do little speeches for each student. And sometimes we ask the partners, did you see any difference? Or what do you think of your wife or your husband now? And it's amazing to hear that they did see the difference. And even those who only saw it maybe in the last couple of months, because sometimes it's difficult to see a difference of your partner because you see your partner every day. But overall, those years, I can say there has been one situation after 3 years being here as a student where I heard one student saying, still my partner isn't agreeing with it. Yes, and all the others, they go through difficult periods because the student is developing and going through a spiritual process. They are looking at who they are and looking at what their convictions are and try to let go of certain habits, etc., etc. And the partner often can become afraid of losing their partner.
Well, I think too, like it could be, I think a couple things, right? It's that, when we really start connecting, right? When your natural vibration starts to rise anyway, right? Because everything starts to dissipate and that connection to spirit starts to kind of light the path. And there are partners that may not like that. I mean, they may have liked kind of where their partner was, might have worked well for them. And there are people I've seen as they develop, they realize the relationship maybe isn't the best for them. So it kind of works both ways. It's a tough thing though. Like you said, it's not the easiest path. I think it tests you on every level. It tests your own belief system. You have to look inward. You have to make that own connection. You have to look at your own relationships. So it's not the easiest thing.
No. And you're making new friends.
Yeah.
And your partner doesn't know those people.
Yep.
And respect, the word respect.
Yeah.
Is important, and trust, of course, and go with the flow.
Yeah.
All those terms are important, and but I do stress out a lot that mediumship should bring you closer to those you love.
Yes. Yeah.
Because if you look within yourself and find that true spirit, that pure consciousness within you, which we are, then why should you not respect your partner anymore? Because you are developing.
Yeah.
But I do see that partners slowly change as well, and change habits and respect that. No, you do different things.
Yes.
But love will be there if you want it to.
If you want it to, yes. Yeah. Now, we do have a caller on the air, Carrie here. She has a question about development. So we will patch her through to see what her question is. So we are going to take a question or two this evening, everyone. So the questions have to be about your development. We're not going to tap into your loved ones as much as we love them or do psychic readings, but this is really about that development. So if you have a question about that, stay on the line, and if not, feel free to let go and listen in. But we have number 17, area code 256, and I believe this is Carrie. Hi, Carrie.
Hi, how are y'all?
Good. How are you doing? This is Jose and Colby. What can we do for you tonight, honey?
Yes, ma'am. I'm feeling a bit stuck in my progression with mediumship, and then there's times when I do read, and I'll have like 2 or 3 spirits come through at once, and it's like playing ping pong, you know, back and forth.
Okay, so
and
hang on 1 second. So I'm going to say it for Jose just because make sure she can hear. Jose, so Carrie's question, she's kind of having some issues in her connection to spirit. Sometimes she feels that there's 2 or 3 spirits, and she's kind of like ping-ponging them. Like she's not real sure how to bring them in or build that blending, as you were saying, like with one at a time. Or so what would your advice be in that situation?
I would definitely say talk to the spirit world, and they want you to become a good and strong medium. So they should listen to you, that in daily life we can also talk only to one person at a time. So they should wait. If there are 2 or 3. It's not always the case. Sometimes people think there are 2 or 3 people from the spirit world because the information is not strong enough to be recognized by one spirit. So, but I would suggest just maybe you can try to ask somebody who you want to contact from. So you know, I should connect to Father and stick to Father, so that the spirit world knows he just wants Father.
Yeah. Well, there you go, Carrie. Does that help, honey?
Yes, ma'am. Thank y'all.
Yeah, you know, and just keep developing and working on it. You know, so even though if you're doing readings, make sure you're training as well, right? Because the training gives you that nice little playground, that practice field, right? And then you go out for the big game.
Okay.
So don't forget to do both, even if you're doing it.
Okay, thank y'all.
You're welcome. Have a good night. Have a good night. But yeah, you know, there's always these issues. I think it is about commitment too, right? Jose, kind of committing to the spirit and what you've got, and then working it out, right? Not being so thrown by the recipient's response.
Yes, true.
So, and now you always mention, okay, so you talk about the who am I and then the I in mediumship. So can you share what that philosophy is? What is that for you that you like to teach and talk about?
It's a lot. It's a lot. But the first thing in mind now comes that we as mediums and students, but also the recipients, we often are not happy.
Okay.
And we talk about, I'm not happy, or I want to do this, I've done this, and I'm searching for that already so long, and I'm still not happy. And so that I believe that the message behind working with spirit is to, yes, they've got to give information so we recognize them, but the main message after they've said who they are and why they for who they are is why they are coming, and that is to help us realize that the I is not about I as a person on a personal level to get what you want in life and to be angry and to live in with all your problems, but to recognize that the I is really pure consciousness, this the essence, and that if you are searching for that, then if you haven't found it in the last 20 years, you're sure not going to find it in the next 20 years.
Yeah.
So I believe that their message is to see that the I is really who you are now.
Yeah.
Live in the now. And I have never, ever had someone from the spirit world who said, I'm not happy.
Yeah.
I'm still stuck in all my problems.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what they're trying to tell us is we are still here.
Yeah.
We cannot be destroyed. Love cannot be destroyed. But we are here to tell you that we are happy.
Yes.
So please be happy as well.
Yes.
And be happy because that's what we want.
Yes.
Be happy in the now and don't hold on to all your ideas about how it should be or how the other person should be.
Or how it was supposed to have been, right?
Supposed to be, yes, exactly. So the I is for me really make the ego smaller, and the ego is the same as the mind. And we use the mind in mediumship. We need the mind.
Yes.
But not the destructive mind.
Yes.
Not the mind which is attached to forms and names and emotions, but we need the mind as the mind like a little child has there's nothing attached. It's just the observer. If the mind observes what we are doing in mediumship, then there is no problem. It's pure.
Yes.
It's a loving mind.
So Heather has a question. Heather wrote in and she said, how do you deal with nervousness before reading?
How did well, I just tell myself that if I'm nervous for a reading, that there is someone who found me, who wants a reading for me, so all will be well. That person is coming to see me. So I shouldn't be nervous, because if I'm nervous, my mind is nervous. So I should get out of my mind. Now bring my focus within myself to the heart. There is no nervousness in the heart. And if you do that every day, several times, or for every sitting, then the nervousness will not stick to you anymore. Will be there for a few seconds, but then you are able to focus within yourself, and there are no nerves, and then you're fine.
Yeah.
As soon as you touch that heart, that essence again, nerves are gone.
Yeah. I always
Everything
say,
what comes and goes.
yeah, I kind of
It's not real.
I tell like a couple things. One is I do have a belief that if someone comes in for a medium reading, I do believe it was the spirit that chose me. and I feel like the spirit directed the person to then book the session, right? So I feel like because it's spirit driven, that makes me feel a little bit better. Like, hey, you guys chose me, so all right. And
Yeah,
and
it's all together. Yes.
yeah, it's all
Yeah.
together, right? And I think too, experience helps. The more you do it, and the more you keep trusting in spirit world, I think the nerves tend to ease a bit as well.
Yeah.
Would you
Oh,
agree?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not nervous for a sitting. That can be a challenge, of course. I mean, if someone, yeah, I had of course, I had people coming for a sitting, and I knew they were quite famous in Holland. Yeah, yeah, my
Mhm.
mind goes there. Oh, I hope I'm doing
Yes.
well,
Yeah.
able to connect to who they want. But it's also the experience that, yeah, that helps. Yeah, absolutely. It will go away.
Yes, yes. So now you do this 3-year program that you were mentioning, and you do that from Holland. Is that correct,
Yeah,
Jose?
yeah.
So just tell everyone just a little bit about this program. How do they get into it, and just maybe share a little bit of that for anyone who may be interested in it.
Yeah, well, it is in Dutch, but it's about everybody can get in unless there is an intake. I do speak to people, or they answer questions on paper or by telephone, or I see them, because I believe that if people are very unstable mentally, emotionally, it's not a very good thing to work with spirit, because you get so many emotions from your sitter, from the spirit world, excitement. I believe healing would be better than to start with. But for the rest, if they want to come, they're welcome. And we work on private sittings a lot, on demonstrations a lot, on the speaking, public speaking, ethics, and of course philosophy,
Yeah.
but very much also about themselves. Big part of the training is also to get to know themselves and get rid of all their habits and the false ideas about their personality. Yeah,
So,
because yeah,
well, real quick, because we only have a couple minutes left, and we have 2 more questions. So I want to try to get them in. Okay, so Julie has a question here. How do you know about your life purpose? Like, how would, like, if someone says, "Hey, what's my life purpose?" How would they know that?
the purpose is for me not something out there. The purpose is to live here and now.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
that's that's our purpose. To be happy in the moment.
Okay. Okay.
There's
Now,
no reason not to be happy now.
and what about, there's another question from Steven. How would you know who your soulmate is?
No idea.
Trial and error.
I'm sorry, but I've met many people in my life, and I feel very connected to. I feel very connected to you at the moment. At the moment, you're my soulmate.
See, thank you. I believe people come into our lives at certain times and for certain reasons, and there is that soul connection, right? There is that soul to soul, and it will
Yeah.
stay with us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, yes, yes. So, now anything other than the Paul that's coming up? I know that's going to be a fabulous week. So again, anybody out there who can make it to the Arthur Findlay College for this week, I mean, that is That is quite a stellar tutor cast. Everyone is amazing, and so that's going to be quite fabulous. I know you're excited about it. Anything else that you would like to share with us tonight, Jose?
Oh, I think it's very important to meet people like yourself, Colby, who take the time and the effort, and it's a lot of work to arrange live interviews so often as you do beside your work, so your normal daily work. So I would like to say thank you very, very much for putting all this work together for the spirit world and all those who are developing themselves spiritually. And yeah, I hope you will find that the time goes by and that you will have reached many, many more people who you have touched within their hearts. And thank you for that.
Oh, thank you, Jose. I really appreciate that. Thank you. And I will say it's been an honor to have you on. You know, we have to share the mediums, the teachers out there who are truly dedicated to spirit. And like I said, when I had the beautiful privilege of meeting you a few years ago, you did touch my heart, truly, and it stayed with me. And your words stay with me. Your teachings stay with me. And I integrate them and practice them as to the best of my ability. So I want to thank you for sharing that and for sharing what you do. And honestly, I really want to thank you for staying up till 2, 3 in the morning for us.
I feel totally awake.
Yay! And you know,
and that's what working with the spirit world does, eh?
It does. They do wake you up, don't they? So listen, everybody, Jose is on Facebook, so feel free to like her page, follow her. If you're at the AFC, take a class that she is tutoring. It will be fabulous. And if you happen to speak Dutch and can take her 3-year program, what an opportunity that is in itself. So, Jose, I do want to thank you so much for your time, for your energy, for your incredible wisdom, and your lovely words this evening.
Thank you, Colby.
Thank you
very much.
All right, now put your jammies on and get some sleep.
I will.
Okay, all right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Have a good time with your family.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Good night. Ciao, ciao.
Sometimes I feel like a star, but only strictly where I'm famous. I'm in this for the longest haul, like we'll see where it takes us. I'm throwing back these double shots like whiskey here is weightless. Cause this career I chose was even riskier than Vegas, yo.